What if your deepest nightmare wasn't just in your dreams? What if your body woke up, but your mind stayed asleep, and in that half-conscious state, you did something so horrifying that even you couldn't believe it? This is not fiction. This is the true story of a man who murdered his own family, not out of hate, anger, or jealousy, but because his sleeping brain made him do it. It's a story that baffled doctors, terrified lawyers, and changed the way the world understood the human mind. Stay with me till the end, because this story will make you question whether you can ever truly trust yourself when you sleep. Toronto, Canada, May 23, 1987. A calm evening. The city lights glowing softly. Inside a small suburban house lived a young couple, Kenneth and Karen Parks, and their baby daughter. Kenneth was just 23, a kind, soft-spoken man who loved his family deeply. To everyone, he was the perfect husband, the perfect son-in-law. But beneath that calm exterior, Kenneth was falling apart. He had recently lost his job. He was struggling with debts. And to make things worse, he'd developed a gambling addiction. He hid his problems from everyone, including his wife. That night, after dinner, Kenneth sat on the couch, holding his baby in his arms. He promised himself he'd fix everything soon. At 11 p.m., he kissed his wife goodnight and went to sleep. What happened next still has no logical explanation. Around 4:30 in the morning, Kenneth's eyes opened, but his mind didn't. He got out of bed, walked to his car, started the engine, and began driving. 14 miles, no destination, no awareness, just pure subconscious movement. He drove to his in-laws' home. He quietly entered with his own key. Inside, his wife's parents, Barbara and Dennis Woods, were fast asleep. Kenneth walked to the kitchen, picked up a knife, and the nightmare began. Barbara was stabbed multiple times. Dennis was strangled but survived. Moments later, Kenneth ran back to his car, still half asleep, his hands covered in blood. He drove straight to the nearest police station. He walked in barefoot, shaking, eyes wide open. But his voice was empty, detached. He looked at the officer and whispered. At first, the police didn't believe a single word. They thought it was an act, a planned murder disguised as madness. But when detectives examined the scene, nothing made sense. There was no motive, no sign of anger, no attempt to hide evidence. And most bizarrely, Kenneth had driven a car, used keys, found a knife, all complex actions, yet he claimed he was unconscious. Could someone really do all that while asleep? Forensic experts were brought in. Kenneth underwent brain scans, psychological tests, and sleep studies. The results shocked everyone. He had an extremely abnormal sleep pattern. Doctors said his brain could enter a state where the body is active, but the conscious mind is completely disconnected. Kenneth's stress, exhaustion, and guilt had created the perfect storm. His mind was overloaded, and during deep sleep, his body simply acted out subconscious turmoil. But still, how do you tell a grieving family that the man who killed their loved one wasn't really awake? In 1988, the Courtroom in Toronto became a global spotlight. Reporters from every major network crowded in to cover what they called the Sleepwalking murder trial. The prosecution was furious. They argued Kenneth was lying. They said no one could commit such a brutal act unconsciously. The defense countered with science, EEG scans, neurological tests, and expert witnesses. They showed Kenneth's brain activity during sleepwalking episodes. During one monitored night, he sat up, walked across the room, and performed routine actions, all while asleep. When woken, he had no memory of it. The jury listened in disbelief. This wasn't a psychopath or a killer. This was an ordinary man, trapped in a biological malfunction. Months passed. Emotions ran high. Was he a murderer or a medical victim? Finally, the judge delivered the verdict that would echo through history. Kenneth was declared not guilty. He walked out a free man. The public exploded in anger. Some said it was justice. Others called it insanity. How could the law excuse a man who killed an innocent woman? But experts stood firm. They believed the verdict wasn't a loophole. It was a reflection of how little we truly understand the sleeping mind. After the trial, Kenneth's life was never the same. He lived with constant guilt, nightmares, and public hate. He moved cities, changed jobs, and tried to rebuild his life. But no matter where he went, he couldn't escape one fact. He had killed someone he loved deeply. In one rare interview, Kenneth said quietly, "Doctors continued to study his case. They discovered that sleepwalking violence often happens during deep non-REM sleep, when the body's motor control is awake, but the brain's awareness is completely shut down. Victims of this disorder can perform highly complex actions, even drive cars, cook food, or unlock doors, without ever waking up. And when they do, they're confused, disoriented, and have total amnesia." Kenneth's case became a global benchmark. It was studied in universities, legal systems, and psychology courses around the world. It forced humanity to ask a haunting question. If your mind sleeps, but your body commits a crime, who is truly guilty, you or your brain? Modern neuroscience now recognizes this condition as homicidal somnambulism. It's extremely rare. Only a handful of confirmed cases exist worldwide. But every one of them is chilling. Doctors explain it this way. During deep sleep, the brain's frontal lobe, which controls logic, reasoning, and morality, shuts down. Meanwhile, the motor cortex and amygdala, which handle movement and emotion, remain active. That means someone can physically move, react to imagined threats, or act out dreamlike scenarios without any rational control. Imagine your body being awake, but your soul still asleep. A terrifying split between consciousness and instinct. Sleepwalking violence reveals how fragile our control truly is, because at any moment under stress or exhaustion, that boundary between sleep and wakefulness can blur. And when it does, the results can be deadly. Kenneth Parks's case remains one of the strangest and most disturbing in modern history. It proved that the human mind is far more complex and dangerous than we imagine. He didn't act out of hate. He didn't even know he acted. Yet, a life was lost. The tragedy forced the world to confront an uncomfortable truth. Sometimes the line between sanity and madness isn't in our thoughts, it's in our sleep. So tonight, when you close your eyes and your body begins to drift into that quiet darkness, ask yourself, what if your dreams stopped being dreams? What if one night you didn't wake up, but your body did? The human brain is a mystery, capable of love, genius, and unimaginable horror. If this story gave you chills, there's another one that's even darker. A man who committed a crime, but claimed his dreams told him to do it. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because that story is next.